The Woman in Black is an American horror film highly favored by audiences and acclaimed as one of the best horror films, creating a worldwide sensation. Released in 2012, it was directed by James Watkins and written by Jane Goldman, starring Daniel Radcliffe, Ciarán Hinds, Janet McTeer, and Liz White. It has a runtime of 95 minutes. The story follows Arthur Kipps, a young lawyer grieving the death of his wife during childbirth. His employer sends him to a remote village to retrieve documents from Eel Marsh House so that it can be sold, threatening his job if he fails. Kipps plans to bring his son, Joseph, to the countryside later. Upon arriving in the small village, he meets the local doctor on the train, who invites him for dinner. At the inn, the landlord eyes Kipps suspiciously upon learning his mission. The next day, the village lawyer refuses to accompany him to the house. Left to his own devices, Kipps heads to Eel Marsh House, where he sees a woman in black. When he investigates, she vanishes. He then witnesses a child drowning in a swamp but is told by the police chief that no one lives in that area. While at the station, two boys bring in their sister, who has ingested lye. Despite Kipps' efforts, the girl dies. The inn's maid warns him not to return to the house. Visiting the doctor's home, Kipps learns the doctor's son, Nicholas, had died, driving his wife, Elizabeth, to madness. The villagers blame Kipps for the girl's death and want him gone, but the doctor convinces him to complete his task, dismissing the villagers' fears as superstitions. The doctor drives Kipps back to the house. There, Kipps discovers letters revealing that Alice Drablow had institutionalized her sister, Jennet Humfrye, and adopted Jennet's son, who later drowned in the marsh. Jennet blamed Alice and cursed the house. Kipps finds messages on the walls accusing him of failing to save the boy and encounters Jennet's ghost. Terrified, he decides to continue his investigation. He sees Jennet, the woman in black, committing suicide. The doctor arrives the next morning to take Kipps back. On the way, he explains the boy's body was never recovered. Arriving in the village, they find the village lawyer's house on fire, with his daughter, Lucy, inside. She dies, setting herself aflame, and Kipps sees Jennet again. Elizabeth tells Kipps about her son's suicide and the recurring child suicides, blaming Jennet for driving them to it as revenge for her own loss. Desperate, Kipps decides to recover Jennet's son's body and bury him properly beside her. He believes this will put her spirit to rest. He succeeds in doing so.